اوكي خليك ما راح تصور، خليها بعيدة عنك. My dear Muslim friends, if you are a peaceful person, this message is not for you.
They ask you with Daniel, apologetic, biblical issues, comparative, and more. And now to the question.
What will you say? How will you reply to someone who will curse your mom in a filthy way? Use a filthy language. I don't know the language in English, but I'm trying the whole thing. I will be trying to convey the message I have in Arabic to you. That happened at the speaker's corner when someone just out of the blue said something bad about my mom and her honor in a sexual way. That is really despicable. How would you answer that? I will go through some of the hadith about Muhammad. We read in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, the beginning and end, for Ibn Kathir, Hafiz Ibn Kathir, well famous commentator, Ibn Kathir al-Dimashqi, the following. Abdul Muttalib, that the grandfather of Muhammad, went and came into Wahab, son of Manaf, Abd Manaf, bin Zuhra, bin Kilab, bin Murra, bin Ka'b, bin Lu'ay, bin Ghalib, bin... These are the narration, the chain of reference and family, just to authenticate the narration of the Islamic hadith. And at that time, he was the master, the chief of Bani Zahra in terms of age and honor. And he gave him, as a wife, his daughter, Amina bint Wahab, who became later the mother of Muhammad. And she was a lady of her tribe. She was a prominent in her tribe. And they said that he went into her, he had sexual intercourse with her when he got her, and she had Muhammad. She became pregnant with Rasulullah. In Bidayah wa Nihaya, part 2, and under the chapter Tazwij Abdul Muttalib ibnahu Abdullah min Amina, the marrying Abdul Muttalib, his son Abdullah, to Amina bint Wahab al-Zahriya. Also we read about Muhammad ibn Amr ibn Waqid al-Aslami. And Ja'far, on the authority of Ja'far, Muhammad ibn Ali ibn al-Hussein, Qala, they said, Amina was in the bosom of her uncle Wahib ibn Abd Manaf. فخطب إليه عبد المطلب في مجلسه ابنته هالة. So Abdul Muttalib betrothed to himself in that setting his daughter Hala, Hala bint Wahib. فزوجه إياها. So he gave her to him as a wife. فكان تزوج عبد المطلب وابنه عبد الله في مجلس واحد. So the marriage of Abdul Muttalib and his son Abdullah at the same time, in one setting. فولدت هالة بنت وهيب لعبد المطلب حمزة. So Hala bore Hamza to Abdul Muttalib, and Amina brought Muhammad. So here we understand that Abdul Muttalib and Abdullah, they got married on the same day. Both ladies became pregnant nearly at the same time, Hala bint Wahib and Amina bint Wahab at the same time. And Abdullah, Amina's husband, died in a few months after that. Shortly after that, Abdullah died. So if his wife, if Amina was pregnant at that time, did the embryo, the baby, died? and Muhammad came from another pregnancy. Few years after that time, because we see the years gap, we will see that later historically. Or according to so many narrations, that Amina's pregnancy took place or lasted 4 years. You see this patching? Amina's pregnancy lasted for 4 to 5 years. The son of Hala, Hamza, son of Amina, Muhammad, were not at the same age. Hamza was 4 years older than Muhammad. Their fathers married on the same day, the same time, from the same family. They got pregnant. Muhammad's dad, allegedly his dad, died soon. But Muhammad came after Hamza 4 years. 4 years after Hamza. The problem becomes clear in the narration of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in his book Al-Isaba, the chapter of Hamza. ولد حمزة قبل النبي بسنتين وقيل بأربع. Hamza was born before the Prophet by 2 years, or it is said 4 years. وهذا لا يتفق مع الأخوية بالرضاعة. This doesn't match that they were brothers in suckling, breastfeeding brothers. Because Hamza was killed on the Ghazwat Uhud, during Ghazwat Uhud, and he was 59 years old, 4 years older than Muhammad. That means Muhammad was at the age of 55 years old. إذن المولود بعد سنوات لا يمكن أن يكون ابن عبد الله. The one who was born after 4 years cannot be the son of Abdullah. Unless we agree with so many Muslim patchers, they want to patch things, that Muhammad stayed in his mother's womb 4 years. 4 years, baby in his mother's womb. We have no history about it. Only the hadiths that were written later. آمنة تعترف أن الحمل بمحمد سبقه آخر مرة ومرات. Amina confessed that her pregnancy with Muhammad was not the first. She had other pregnancies, once and more. And her pregnancy with Muhammad was easier, according to her confession, than other pregnancies. So, did Muhammad have brothers, sisters, other siblings? Where are they? Why we don't know about them? Website of the Arab atheist, we read the following. إذن المولود بعد سنوات من موت عبد الله لا يمكن أن يكون ابن عبد الله. The one who was born years after the death of Abdullah cannot be the son of Abdullah. Clear from these stories, from these narrations, also there were 2 women. When Abdullah was going to marry Amina, he was with his dad, but he passed by a woman. She asked him to come on her, to have intercourse with her, and she will give him number of she-camels, because she saw lights in him. And allegedly that woman is a sister of Waraqa ibn Nawfal, the bishop of Mecca, or the mufti of Mecca, who married Muhammad and who declared him prophet. But so Abdullah passed by that woman and he refused. He said, I am accompanying my dad, I cannot do things without him. But when Abdullah finished, married with his dad, marrying Hala and Amina, Abdullah went back to that woman. He already married to Amina. He already وقع عليها, it means had sexual intercourse with her, and حملت منه, and she became pregnant by him, and he went back to that woman, but the woman refused him. She said, the lad has departed from you. In other words, she told him also, لقد وقعت على آمنة. You had sexual intercourse with Amina. So he lost. What sort of dad is that? What sort of man is that? He gets married, had sex with his wife, and went to see that woman. We don't know much about her, apart from her asking him to have sexual intercourse with her. It's very strange. Very strange. Amina, the young girl, we read about her sitting in the bosom of her uncle, means she was young. Yet she knew men before him, and she had other pregnancies before being pregnant with Muhammad, according to the Islamic hadith, authentic hadith. How this culture would accept that easily? What are these shaking narrations that cannot fit with the human sensibility? Many questions only can explain by Muhammad's position of his mom. We read in the website of Sheikh Ibn Baz, that's a prominent sheikh in Saudi Arabia. On his website, a question, someone asked a question by the name Rida Mitwalli, Masri, reside in Riyadh, ask, سمعنا بأن والد ووالدة الرسول ماتوا وهم على ملة قريش. We have heard that the father and the mother of the Prophet, the messenger, died at the religion of Quraysh. And ذكر بأن رسول الله استأذن ليستغفر لهم فلم يؤذن له فبكى وأبكى من حوله. The messenger of Allah asked Allah to seek forgiveness for them, but he wasn't permitted to seek forgiveness for his dad and mom. And he wept, and those with him wept as well. So the viewer asking Sheikh Ibn Baz, وجهونا في ضوء هذا السؤال. Give us some guidance on the light of this question. The answer, the following. Yes, the Prophet sought forgiveness for his uncle Abi Talib and was not given to him. And he asked Allah to yastaghfir لأمه, to seek forgiveness for his mom, was not given that permission. And when the man who was asking about someone died in Jahiliyyah, it was about his dad, Muhammad said to him, he is in the fire. And when Muhammad saw that the man's face became grim, he comforted him. He said, won't you be happy that my dad and your dad are in the hellfire? And this they take because they have not believed in the religion of Abraham, in the tradition of Abraham. So that's why they are condemned to hell fire. Those who receive the Ibn Baz is saying, أما الذين ما بلغتهم الدعوة ولا عرفوا شيئا فهذا أمرهم إلى الله. Those who have not received the call about the religion of Abraham and did not ignore it because they didn't know, it is for Allah to judge them, how He will judge them. I mean, we are in a small society. The book of Abraham, Sefer Yetzirah, was known to them. If we are talking about Abraham, it was known. We are talking about a Jewish society. They have the literature, and the book of Abraham, Sefer Yetzirah, was at that time, thriving at that time. It's one of the Apocrypha, but it's fantastic, and there's very good indication in it concerning the Quran, especially in Surah Al-A'la, where it mentioned that this book, إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى, this in the early scriptures, in the early parchments of Abraham and Moses. And in that surah we see similation to verses in the book of Yetzirah, and Sefer Yetzirah, which is known as the book of Abraham as well. Interesting. But what is this? It is amazing. Amina, Muhammad's mother, Khalida fil nar, in hellfire for eternity. It is mind-boggling. What is the story? What we have, the narration, the hadith about the light she have seen, and the wonderful, the easy pregnancy she had, and all the lights shone around Amina. What is that story? How can you patch this? But that will explain. Amina was not able to keep her son, Muhammad. When she delivered him, allegedly what we have read, that they sent him to the Bedouin, to the Arab, in Sahara, in the desert, to learn their language and manner. And what we discovered later? He learned nothing. Nothing of that transpired in his life. He wasn't sent there. He was rejected by his mom, asking for anyone. And when Halima as-Sa'diyya took him, ladies were going to adopt children and people will pay them. She found this an orphan and his mom cannot pay. Refused him. Everybody refused him. Eventually what happened, according, that's Islamic tradition, what happened that Halima finished the day and she was going back with no one. And she said, okay, let me take that child. So out of pity on him and on his poor mom, that she cannot keep a child, her child, the fruit of her womb with her, Halima took him. That is the story. That explains the position of Muhammad towards his mom, which transpired his stand against all women and against the Jews. That is the background. Muhammad all his life was like wanted to take revenge of women and of the Jews. So coming to this chap, Muhammadi, I will call him, and others. So I explain that he spoke badly of my mother's honor, that my mom was Hajjah. She went to Hajj few times, and she was known by her God-fearing. Plus she stood by my side. She had the faith in her heart. I cannot speak badly of his mom because I don't know his mom. How can I speak badly? He spoke badly against my mom, but I won't speak badly against his mom. But I could speak about the mom of the prophet he follows. As for the Saint Mary, the mother of Jesus according to the incarnation, she was the only one Muhammad mentioned in his Quran, and by name, because of her chastity, because of her noble life. Muhammad mentioned her by name. And for something else in the mind of Muhammad that deserve another setting. I'm Daniel. I love you so much, and I hope you would hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you receive everything new. Thank you. Cheers.